In the best stretches of the season, we've seen a common thread during the hot streaks. They're ignited by a hitter on a roll. We've seen Adrian Beltre do it time and time again. Ian Desmond took along everybody for a ride with an incredible mid-season run. And it sure seems to be Mitch Moreland's time to carry the torch. Today, Moreland and the suddenly steaming hot Rangers look to sweep the Kansas City Royals right out of Globe Life Park. Next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by high-speed internet from AT&T. Well, about the only thing in North Texas hotter than the weather on this late July afternoon would be the Texas Rangers. This afternoon, the hometown nine looks to sweep the Kansas City Royals in this four-game series. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us. Hope you're having a very cool Sunday afternoon, wherever you happen to be. Rangers are steaming hot right now, and they are looking to sweep the Royals right out of Globe Life Park. And they're riding the back of Mitch Moreland lately, and Mitch has been hot.
He's been hot, Buzz, and based on his track record, you knew it was going to happen. Yeah. It's nice to see it happening right now. In over 100 at-bats, he's hitting over 300. Since the All-Star break, he's been hotter than that. In fact, since the All-Star break, he's hitting 341. In this series, he's been hotter than that. He's hit 3 home runs in this series. 2 of them have been game winners, 1 of them a walk-off. So Mitch is hot. He's carrying the load. He's capable of doing that, and hopefully that's going to continue for 2 more months, Buzz.
That's exactly right, and maybe more if we need it. That's what we have to look forward to in August, September, and on into October. So the Rangers looking to cap off a series sweep here this afternoon. The newest Ranger, Lucas Harrell, on the mound. We'll be back with the starting lineup for the first pitch right after this. All on Fox Sports Southwest. It's brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T High-Speed Internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. A very warm Sunday afternoon here in Arlington, Texas. Globe Life Park the scene. And before we get things underway, let's check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, a very big day for Bradley, his 5th birthday, and a very big day for Lucas Harrell as he makes his Rangers debut, 2-2 with the 3.38 ERA for the Braves this season. He spent time pretty much everywhere. He's been in Houston, been in Atlanta, he's been overseas to play. He is excited about joining this contending Rangers team.
It's been pretty intense, but it's been awesome, you know, getting to come and be a part of the team, you know, yesterday, and the game, and just seeing the atmosphere here, and just how loose and fun it is, and also, you know, how serious they are about winning.
And Lucas says he realizes he's got an opportunity and he wants to seize it, realizes that there is an opening in the starting rotation because of injuries, and wants to make the very most of every opportunity that he's given beginning today.
All right, Ed, thank you. Well, he's off to a very good start. A couple of strikes on Alcides Escobar, the leadoff hitter for the Kansas City Royals. Lucas Harrell from Missouri. He grew up in Springfield, Missouri. Originally a draftee of the Chicago White Sox. And the numbers for Lucas Harrell this year with the Atlanta Braves, had 5 starts, went 2-2, 3.38 ERA in the league, hitting just 2.34 against him. His last start, he was 6 shutout innings against the Minnesota Twins. Well, Harrell trying to regroup after a year that he spent in Korea, and he said that really got him to take a second look and a closer look at himself and why he did things the way he did them and what really were his motivations on the pitching mound. He said he had to do a lot of introspective work because the language barrier made it tough for communication lines to remain open in Korea. So he was kind of on his own. He said he thought long and hard about how he was going to revitalize his pitching, and it certainly has worked. Going outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Last year with the LG Twins in Korea, Lucas made 33 starts, went 10-11. Previously, 4 years prior to that, he was in Houston. Won 11 ball games for the Astros back in 2012, and that's what Ranger fans will remember Lucas Harrell from. He was one of the top pitchers on the staff that year. And he's gone from 0-2 to 3-2 now to Escobar. Alcides leading things off. He'll be followed by the third baseman, Cheslor Cuthbert. The Rangers trying to sweep the Royals. 4 games sweep. The Rangers have not had a 4-game sweep since last year against the Astros. This pitch popped up. Mitch Moreland, the first baseman, coming over, has room right in front of the Ranger bench, makes the grab for out number 1. And Tom's going to tell you now about the rest of the Kansas City lineup.
Well, you saw Alcides Escobar. Cheslor Cuthbert will bat now. He's the third baseman. Eric Hosmer is third. Kendrys Morales is the DH, and the cleanup hitter, Alex Gordon, will bat 5th and play left field, followed by the right fielder, Paulo Orlando. The catcher is Drew Butera today, batting 7th. Gerard Dyson gets a start in the outfield. He'll bat 8th, and batting 9th, the second baseman, Raul Mondesi.
And the first pitch to Cheslor Cuthbert is in for strike 1. Cuthbert batting .298. He has taken over the third base spot for Kansas City after Mike Moustakas tore his ACL in a collision with Alex Gordon back in May, I should say. Cuthbert has come in and really solidified what could have been a trouble spot. All the way to the backstop. The count goes to 2-1. Royals come in at 49-54. They are in 4th place in the American League Central. 11 games by the front-running Cleveland Indians. Hit hard, stopped by Profar. He picks it up after it comes out of his glove and makes the throw to first.
Well, Cuthbert continues to swing the bat well. Not just in this 4-game series, but he came into the game a .298 hitter. He's hit the ball extremely well in this series. Another hard hit ball. He's 0 for 1. But it was a well-struck ball that Jurickson stayed with and made the play on.
A nice play by Profar getting the start today, and Elvis Andrus getting the afternoon off. Here's Eric Hosmer, who takes low and outside for ball 1. Hosmer 1 out of 5 in previous matchups against Lucas Harrell. Only a handful of current Kansas City Royals have faced Harrell before, Hosmer being one of them. Alex Gordon, who's hitting 5th, has the most at-bats against Harrell with 7. The 2-0 pitch. That good tailing fastball. That's one thing that Lucas Harrell said he's kind of gone a little bit away from. He primarily was a sinker ball pitcher with the Houston Astros. Doug Brocail would attest to this because he was his pitching coach. He said he kind of abandoned the sinker as his primary fastball. He said he likes the four seam and sometimes cutting fastball a little bit better. Still throws the sinker, but it's not his primary pitch. And when he breaks out one like that.
Yeah, based on those 2 swings and misses in this bat, I wouldn't forget about it altogether.
Yeah, no kidding. Doug had Lucas for a couple of years down in Houston. Payoff pitch. That's a line deep down the left field line, slicing in the corner, and that ball is gone. Eric Hosmer, a line drive home run that just kept carrying into the corner and glanced just fair beyond the pole off the second wall back there.
I don't see many home runs hit like that. Low line drives. I thought it might slice foul. But it's a fastball tailing away for a strike on the outside corner, and Hosmer talked about him not really being a home run hitter, more of a line drive hitter. That was a line drive, 340-foot line drive, right off the foul pole.
So that qualifies as a line drive.
Sure does.
Yeah,
about a foot over the wall.
So Kansas City a quick 1-0 lead, and now Pedris Morales lofts a fly ball to deep left field. Rua back there, midway back on the track, makes the catch, and that will do it. Hosmer's home run gets the Royals on the board after a half inning of play. Royals 1, Rangers coming up on Fox Sports Southwest. Coming to bat, Tom's going to tell you about the Rangers Southwest Airlines starting lineup.
Yeah, a little bit different look to the lineup today. Delano DeShields will play center and lead off. Nomar Mazara is in right. Jurickson Profar starts at shortstop in place of Elvis. He's going to bat third today. Adrian Beltre will get a half a day off in DH. Rougned Odor batting fifth will play second base. Mitch Moreland is at first. Ryan Rua gets the start in left field. Robinson Chirinos will bat eighth. And the third baseman is Hanser Alberto. He'll bat ninth today.
And on the hill for the Kansas City Royals, the Cleburne native, 30-year-old right-hander Dylan G. Good breaking ball from G, and Doing fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup. Mostly sliders to right-handers, curveballs to left-handers. Not overpowering by any means, but the Rangers don't have much experience with him. Just one previous start. And so you would have to say advantage G the first time around. G formerly with the Mets, signed with the Royals. And Delino DeShields greets him with a solid base hit to center. Delino a chance to lead off for the Rangers here today and play center field. And he is aboard to begin things.
Well, he got a fastball. It tails back right in the center of the plate. Near the center of the plate. And ripped hard into center field by Delino.
Delino ups his average a bit. He was hitting at 214 before that at bat. He is aboard with his good speed. And batting next, Nomar Mazara. First pitch is on the outside corner. Dylan G, we mentioned, grew up in Cleburne, went to University of Texas Arlington, played down there for the Mavericks, and came to the big leagues with the New York Mets. Had a couple of very productive years with the Mets. Long hold, pitch up and in. He made his major league debut back in 2010. 13-game winner in 2011, and a 12-game winner in 2013. He signed as a minor league free agent this past December with the Royals, a non-roster invitee to spring training, and he made the ball club. He has worked both as a starter and reliever for Ned Yost's club this year. Good breaking ball. He has the advantage in the count now at a ball and 2 strikes. Dylan G, about 6'1", goes to 205 pounds.
Way out in front of a breaking ball, swung and missed at it right before the home run. Then he got another breaking ball. This one stayed up, and he was able to time it, center it on the barrel of the bat, and rip it out of the ballpark. The Rangers get the run back +1 right off the bat. 2 hitters into the game.
Oh, here's Jurickson Profar batting third today, and he takes outside for ball 1. Dylan G now has allowed 12 home runs this year in 63 innings of work.
There's the one he swung and missed at. Pretty good curveball. Dips down. This one started to dip, but it never got down. Stayed up, more out over the plate, and you saw the result.
Profar takes ball 3. Ouch. That was the hanger that got good sound, too. That's not a good combination if you're a pitcher. 3-1 to Profar. No, Nomar Mazara. The terrific start he got off to, and he has struggled the last 40 games, especially in the power department. That's just his second home run since first part of June. But very timely, and that's what the Rangers have had lately. Timely power. That's their 138th home run of the year. They are 4th in the league now. Tapper right back to G off the end of Profar's bat. That is out number 1. Take a look at the rest of the Royals defense for you. Gordon in left, Dyson in center, Orlando in right. Hosmer and Mondesi on the right side of the diamond, Escobar and Cuthbert on the left. Drew Butera is getting to start behind the plate here this afternoon. So one away, and the cleanup man, Adrian Beltre, who's DHing this afternoon, comes up. Nomar Mazara having a chat on the bench, enjoying the time that he has to tell Hanser Alberto about that home run. Hanser didn't want to hear about it. Didn't have to forget it. Beltre pops it up. Foul territory for Hosmer. 2 gone.
Batting fifth, the second baseman, number 12.
Beltre fouls out. Now Rougned Odor. Rougned up to 5th in the lineup, right behind big Beltre today. Identical average to Adrian's at 279, but 21 home runs and 54 RBI for the Rangers second baseman. A butt, and it's a good one. Cuthbert gonna make a throw anyway, but by the time the ball got there, Odor was stopping and turning around, coming back to first base. Odor with his 8th bunt base hit of the year.
As long as they want to put that kind of a shift on, that's a great opportunity for him. You know, he's got the potential to steal a base. There's 2 outs and nobody on, get a base runner. And all he's got to do is just lay a sacrifice bunt down like that, and there's nothing the third baseman can do. You can see Hosmer running up to cut the ball off because he knows there's no play at first base. That's just a good way to hit 10 or 15 points higher at the end of the year. If you can lay those bunts down, you want to hit 280, you want to hit 295. You want to hit 275 or 290. You take your choice.
Odor,
you get 10 or 12 bunt hits, that's a huge boost.
Here's Moreland, who takes inside. Odor now was tied for second in the American League with 7 bunt base hits. We'll have to see at the end of the day how that pushes him up further. Well, Mitch Moreland, the hero last night, the hero here on Thursday night. 3 home runs in this series. Takes inside, 2 balls and no strikes. And Mitch showing you how hot he really is. 2 of the home runs went to left and left center. The home run last night was a laser that went into the second row of the upper home run porch. Pulled that into right field. Two and one. G throwing something other than a fastball on 2-0.
Yeah, it looks like G's got a pretty good changeup. Threw a changeup to Profar behind in the count. Jurickson was out in front of it.
Dylan G, whose father is a firefighter in Fort Worth. 2-2 now to Moreland. Well, Mitch Moreland last night. Brooks Pounders got pounded by Mitch Moreland.
That's one as a pitcher, you turn around to look at it, you might not be able to turn around fast enough to see where it ends up. That ball got out of here so quickly.
Hurt your neck trying to keep up with that one. Got him swinging. Oh, G able to get the strikeout. He strands one, but Nomar Mazara with a 2-run blast, scoring Delino to Shields in front of him. Rangers have taken the lead after 1 here on a Sunday afternoon. Rangers 2, Royals 1. Jurickson Profar starting at shortstop today. Our Coors Light cold hard fact for you. Profar has started at 5 different positions defensively this season. 9 at first, 11 at second, 5 at short, 9 at third, and 2 in left field. Coors Light cold hard fact brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. That is the essence of versatility. Now Lucas Harrell now with a 1-run advantage to work with. Dealing to Alex Gordon, 1 ball and 1 strike. Gordon starting things off here in the second. He'll be followed by Paulo Orlando and Drew Butera. 2 balls and a strike. Gordon batting just .205 with 7 home runs, 16 driven in. Drive to right, that'll settle in front of Mazara for a base hit. Gordon starts the Royals second with a knock. And before Orlando steps in, let's say hello to Jim Knox.
Oh, I appreciate it, Buzz. Great day for baseball and a great day and a great place to celebrate a birthday. Courtney turns 30 today. Brought all her friends and family. And where are you from?
Lufkin, Texas.
All right, good to have you here. Of course, rooting on the Rangers. And hey, it's Courtney's 30th birthday. Let's get on, guys. There we go, Buzz.
All right, Doxy.
Hi, Lufkin.
Happy birthday, Courtney. Orlando drops down a good bunt. Alberto, the throw, and just did get it. Nice play by Hanser Alberto. Orlando runs well, and that was a very well executed bunt into second. Here's Alex Gordon. The goal is a sacrifice, but with Orlando's speed, that could very easily have been a base hit.
You can see Hanser gets a good jump on the ball. He was about even with the bag to start out. He's able to make the play without barehanding it, fielding it with his glove and his hand, and making a strong throw. Just nipped him at first base.
So 1 out now. Drew Butera, the Royals catcher this afternoon, steps in. Butera having a good year offensively at .294. Butera, a couple of home runs, 9 RBI. Now we'll take a look at the Texas Rangers defense this afternoon. Texas Department of Transportation showing you this lineup. Rua, DeShields, and Mazara. In the outfield, Moreland, Odor, Profar, and Alberto, with Robinson Chirinos catching. One and 1 to Butera. Butera, veteran catcher, serving as backup to Salvador Perez. Two balls and a strike. Butera got the start here on Thursday night. Perez under the weather a bit. Butera went 0 for 3 in that ball game. This is 20th start of the year behind the plate. 105th game for the Royals this year. Going to third is Gordon. The throw not in time. Alex Gordon just picked Lucas Harrell's pocket clean. One look back, and Gordon banking that would be the only one, and he was correct.
Yeah, I guess at times as a pitcher you get comfortable with a runner. You make the assumption that he's not going to go. But Gordon's a veteran guy. He had watched and timed the stretch, the time between, and the move to the plate. Determined that he could get a great jump, and he did.
Well, now Gordon with a tying run at third. The Rangers with a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes on Butera will pull the infield all the way in. Harrell will continue to work from the stretch. The 2-2 pitch. Grounded right to Odor, who checks Gordon back to third. And there's a very big out, number 2.
Well, Kansas City's adept at stealing bases. They were 60 out of 80. Gordon stole his 6th straight base without being thrown out. And the decision to play the infield in paid off. Soft ground ball. Obviously, if he's playing back, it's an easy run. Played in, cut off the run. On that particular at bat, still an out to go before you can say you really cut off the run.
Oh, the infield back now. Here's Gerard Dyson. Check swing and the pitch inside. No swing. The appeal down to Chris Conroy at third. He said no. Dyson, a .251 hitter with a home run and 15 driven in. And Harrell misses inside. It is 2-0. Dyson making his second start in this series. He is 1 for 3, had a stolen base as a pinch runner. Up the middle's flagged by Lucas Harrell, and that'll do it. So the right-hander works around the leadoff single, sacrifice, and stolen base as Grant Gordon at third. After 1.5, Rangers leading 2-1. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Ford Freedom Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Bottom third of the Ranger order here in the second inning. Dylan G starting Ryan Rua off with a slow curveball. 0-1. Rua hitting .272, 7 home runs, 20 RBI. A bunt. Is it far enough down the line? Gutierrez not in time to get Rua.
It was far enough down the line for Ryan. Might not have been far enough down the line for some other runners, but he just barely got it far enough as Gutierrez pounced on it and made a strong throw to first base. The Rangers beat out their second bunt in 3 batters. It was borderline whether it was going to be far enough, but Ryan gets down the line extremely well. Gutierrez made a nice play, but not in time.
No, Rua with that bunt side. Fourth Ranger base hit of the afternoon. 3 singles and a 2-run home run. Here's Robinson Chirinos. Double play ball to G, to Mondesi, and back to Hosmer. That very quickly took care of the bunt single. No, 1-4-3 twin killing. Base is empty now for Hanser Alberto. Alberto, in his first start, is back at the end of May. First game action with the Rangers since the 1st of June. And he takes strike 1 from Dylan G. Hanser, go back to the first stint that he had with the big club, 2 for his last 14. Or 2 for 14 in his last 9 games. This is the 11th start overall. And he finds himself now even or down in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Chopper foul will stay at 1 and 2. Alberto went down to Round Rock and in 39 games down there hit .250. Hit 4 home runs and drove in 16, playing both second base and shortstop. Well, in the last 10 ball games with Round Rock hit .282, so things on the upswing. Mondesi, little sidearm flip, and that'll do it. And what looked promising after Rua's bunt single turns into nothing for the Rangers. We'll go to the 3rd inning at Globe Life Park. It's the Rangers 2, the Royals 1 on Fox Sports Southwest. Well, mark your calendars now for the next Texas Chili Company Dollar Hot Dog Night. It's coming up Wednesday, August 10th. Colorado Rockies are in town to take on the Rangers. So come on out to Globe Life Park early and enjoy all the dollar hot dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or you can call 972-RANGERS. Harrell to Mondesi. The ball is off Moreland out into shallow right field. The Mondesi is aboard. The kind of play that Mitch going for it kind of got in a bad position with that second hop. Not much he could do to make it an easy one. And Mondesi aboard. We'll see how that's ruled.
As it turned out, probably the only way to make that play would have been for Mitch to let Odor take it, but that's a tough call for a first baseman. You're not exactly sure if the second baseman can get to it, and you know that you can. But if Mitch caught that ball, it was going to be a tough play to pivot, throw to the pitcher to get a runner like Mondesi. He can fly down the first baseline.
That's going to be an error on Mitch Moreland, just his second of the year and his first since May the 27th. It's his second error in 720 chances. Alcides Escobar fouled out to first, his first time up. Harrell going to keep Mondesi close. Mitch, who came in the leading percentage fielder at first base. Have that one miscue go on his ledger. Tough scoring choice, but you can understand why it would be. But is foul. Yeah, I think you're right, Tom. I think in hindsight, Mitch would probably say, "Oh, I should have let Rugnet have that." But when you started after it, you're kind of committed then.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time to make your decision. He knows where Rugi's playing, but he still knows that he can get to the ball pretty easily. And I think if you feel that way, you go ahead and take it.
out of play. And I would imagine the speed of Mondesi probably factored into that a little bit. And figuring, well, I've got to cut it off if he gets clear out to Odor, and I can get him anyway.
Yeah, it was going to be a close play, no matter which way he chose to do it. I'm not sure, as far as he was towards second, that he would have been able to wheel, turn around, and hit the pitcher accurately enough to get Mondesi, but the scorekeeper felt that way, and that's his call.
1-2 pitch. Alberto, Odor, Moreland. A moot point now as a 5-4-3 double play takes care of all those problems. Double play number 134 for the Rangers this year. It empties the bases.
Yeah, the double play has been a weapon the last 2 nights. Last night for Martin Perez, it was a huge weapon as 3 leadoff hitters who got on base were erased by a double play. And already in this game, here's another one. Perfect throw by Hanser from third base. Getting a chance to play third while Adrian DHs today. Adrian couldn't have done it any better than that.
Here's Adrian. And yeah, I taught him everything he knows. 2 balls and no strikes. The count to Cheslor Cuthbert. Cuthbert out on a nice play by Jurickson Profar back in the first inning. Cuthbert now ahead in the count, 3 balls, no strikes. Cuthbert trying to extend this 3rd inning, getting a board in front of Eric Hosmer. Harrell back to the plate, pumps in a strike. It's 3-1. Cuthbert now 4 out of 12 in this series. Fouls it back, and Harrell comes back to fill the count. Beautiful sunshiny afternoon out here at Globe Life Park. Nice crowd on hand. A warm day at 98 degrees, up a couple of degrees from first pitch. And Cuthbert takes the 2-out walk. That's the first pass issued by Lucas Harrell today. A 1 on 2 out before Eric Hosmer steps in. We're going to send it over to Rick Renner for a Chevy game break. All right, Rick, thank you.
Detroit going for 6 in a row today. Problem is Cleveland on their way to winning their 3rd straight.
Yeah. That's going to turn into a dogfight. It already is. Hosmer, an opposite field home run, clanked it right off the left field foul pole his first time up. His 15th of the year. 1-1 now. Hosmer hitting just 164 since the All-Star break. But he always enjoyed hitting in this ballpark. That was his 5th career home run in 16 games here at Globe Life. Good off-speed pitch from Harrell, and he has the advantage in the count now and a ball and 2 strikes. Royals dead last in baseball in home runs as a team, 88 of them now. Lucas Harrell back to the plate. Nice stop by Robinson Chirinos. 2-2. Kind of afternoon where Robinson Chirinos loved to be able to catch the game sitting in a rocking chair. He's going to lose about 10 pounds probably this afternoon. The count now fills. 3-2 to Hosmer. With Cuthbert at first, Hosmer batting 3rd in the order. Kendrys Morales, the DH, will be next. Harrell back up on top, checking the signs out from Chirinos. Cuthbert on the move, payoff pitch. Swung on and foul tipped, and the bat goes flying back. He broke off the handle. He's got the little tiny stub of a handle in his hand. It had to have been broken before, I would guess, wouldn't it?
I don't know. I've never seen that before. He couldn't have made much contact on that ball. It's a slow curve ball. He barely fouls it off, and the bat breaks off. That I don't believe I've ever seen before. Just barely ticked it. It's like someone sabotaged his bat.
Yeah, exactly. No putting that back together, sorry. He's swinging this time.
That had to be some bad wood for that bat to break.
No runs, no hits, an error, and 1 man left. After 2.5, Rangers 2, Royals 1. Folks, you don't have to travel to a galaxy far, far away to enjoy Star Wars Weekend presented by Takis. Head on out to Globe Life Park August 26th through the 30th for Star Wars giveaways and a post-game fireworks show when the Rangers take on the Cleveland Indians. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, and may the Force be with you. Force has been with the Rangers here. They've definitely turned into some Jedis in this series. Liner to Shields, who singled to open up the ball game and then scored on Omar Mazara's home run. Has a count of 1 ball and 1 strike. Delino, that average up to 220 now. Ahead of the count, 2-1. Dylan G with his 34th pitch of the afternoon. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Delino DeShields playing in his 11th career game against Kansas City. He's hit .286 against Royals pitching. And he has the count full. So Delino trying to start off the 3rd the same way he started off the 1st. That's getting aboard for Nomar Mazara, who will follow. Hit well to center field. Dyson back at the track to make the catch.
Yeah, that ball was hit extremely well, but that's the wrong part of the park for Delino. That's about maxing out at 400 feet. He hit it as well as he could hit it. Needed to pull it just a little bit more than that to get a home run.
Let's check in with Emily Jones.
Guys, with the absence of Shin-Soo Choo and Prince Fielder from this Rangers lineup, a lot of guys have been put in different situations offensively, and Jeff Bannister likes the way his guys are responding.
There is a sense of urgency in what they feel they need to do, and once they settle in, just say, hey, look, just be the hitter that I can be. It allows them to perform much better and probably a little more comfort. When we have all those guys in the lineup, I think it's not the mentality, but there's so many guys in that lineup who can do so many different things that they start looking at each other. Well, who's going to do it tonight? And so when you put a little more emphasis on yourself, I think there's a little greater focus.
So an interesting take on things, like he said, when certain guys, especially, key players like Chu and Prince, once they're out of the lineup, regardless of the numbers, those guys change the complexion of a lineup, causes guys to perhaps look at themselves a little differently when that lineup comes out, guys.
All right, Em, thank you. Yeah, it's the mental part of baseball is so important. How you feel about yourself, how you feel about what you're doing, that any little variation can have a huge impact on your performance. Nice to know that Jeff Bannister feels that the guys are pretty adaptable. Whatever happens, they have a pretty good attitude about their performance and what they can do to help the ball club win. The base is empty, 2 away for Jurickson Profar. Profar tapped right back to the mound in the first inning. That pitch on the inside corner, 1-1. Profar has had at least 1 hit in each of his last couple of ball games. Jurickson on a pretty good run. He's in his last 7 games, he's hit .360. That came after he ended that 0 for 20 drought. He's gone from one extreme to the other. Shot foul down the first base side, and the count remains, or goes to 2 balls, 2 strikes. Profar on this homestand has gone 8 for 21. That's a .381 average. G to the wind. That is pulled foul to the right. With a guy like Profar and Hanser Alberto, the liner to Shields, the skipper, comfortable, giving Desmond and Elvis Andrus a day off. Joey Gallo out of the lineup today, and nice to have guys that can move around to different areas. And that was one of the big things about having Jurickson Profar, is the number of positions he could play. And he's gone here, kind of sat down on that one, and G nailed the outside corner. So 3 up, 3 down. Rangers out in order for the first time this afternoon. We'll go on to the 4th inning. Rangers leading the Royals by 1.
over the Royals 2-1 in the finale of this 4-game series as we welcome you back to Globe Life Park in Arlington. And always great things going on in the community with these Texas Rangers and their families. Recently, the wives, children, and girlfriends were at the Arlington Life Shelter providing dinner, which was provided by Delaware North Sports Service and also Papa John's. The ladies always doing great things in our community. Also made a donation for snacks for the kiddos there at the Arlington Life Shelter. So nice to see them out in the community doing great things, and we are pleased to tell you about them, guys.
All right, Ed, thank you. Kendrys Morales leading off the Royals' 4th inning. He's gotten ahead of the count now. 3 balls and no strikes. Morales, who flied out to the track in left field, is leading things off. There's the group. 3-1. Morales 0 for 5 in his career against Lucas Harrell. And that pitch just misses. Oh, leadoff walk. Second walk of the game for Harrell. 1 on, nobody out. Alex Gordon will be next.
Left fielder Alex Gordon.
Gordon singled to right field as he led off the 2nd inning. Rangers have turned 1 double play this afternoon. Harrell missing outside. Gordon with that base hit now has the average up to 208. Hit well to right field. Mazzara drifting back, halfway back on the track, makes the catch. Ball appears to be carrying pretty well here today. I didn't think he hit that all that well, but carried pretty well. We've seen a couple of balls to left field that have carried extremely well. One out of the ballpark.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, I thought he hit it a little bit like Mazzara hit his.
Oh, did you?
Well, I couldn't tell whether he hit on, must not hit on the good part of the bat because he's got better power than that. But it had the same trajectory and kind of the same direction, but he must not have hit it. Must not have hit it quite as well.
Oh, 1 out. Here's Paulo Orlando. 0-1. Orlando had a sacrifice bunt in the 2nd.
Let's get a look. Might have been slightly toward the handle.
Trademark a little bit.
So he's kind of hoping on that one, but didn't hit it well enough to get that far to be a home run. About time for a double play. Haven't had one in a couple innings.
5 hitters or something like that. Yeah, that's a long time. 1-1.
Harrell, 30 strikes, 30 balls. Hasn't really had his impeccable command yet, but he's making the pitches and getting the outs.
Right back to it. 1-6-3. Well, you called for it, Tom. You got it.
I'll have to keep doing that.
Second double play of the afternoon. 135 for the year for the Rangers. Swami will go to the bottom of the 4th. 2-1 Rangers. you're a pyromaniac like I am, you want to know about the next fireworks show. That's coming up on Friday, August 12th, and is presented by Big Green Egg. Rangers take on the Tigers that night at 7:05 game. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS. Gotta love the pyrotechnics out here at Globe Life Park. Always a great scene on Friday nights. Adrian Beltre starting things off, and Dylan G misses with the first 2 pitches. Beltre fouled out to Eric Hosmer, the first baseman, back in the first inning. Ball's ripped but pulled foul down the left side. 2-1. And the Rangers thus far 2 runs on 4 hits. The Royals 1 run on 2 hits. Lucas Harrell employing the double play grounder to good effect. He's been paying close attention since he got here apparently. And said, okay, you got a guy on, you throw the ball and you get a ground ball at somebody, chances are pretty good you're going to turn 2. I mentioned Lucas, especially with the Astros, very much a ground ball pitcher. Not quite so much anymore, but maybe he'll reconvert. Into the hole by Alcides Escobar, and Adrian Beltre continues to swing the bat well against the Kansas City Royals.
Second baseman,
Better average, better on base and slugging percentage against Kansas City than everybody. And moving up the all-time list, this is the hit list for you. Tied with Babe Ruth for 43rd all-time, 2,873 hits. Now Beltre aboard. Here's Odor. Rugna had a bunt single in the first inning. And talking about Rugna, he's our TXU Energy Power Player to watch this afternoon. Last 12 games, Odor has hit .354 with 5 home runs, 8 RBI, a .1055 OPS, and he's hit safely in 9 of his 12 games. Chops that foul. Rugna, of course, the team leader with 21 home runs. And his second career 2 home run game on Friday night. 1 ball and 1 strike. Foul back just below us. 1-2. You had a good jump on that ball, Tom.
Yeah, I had a pretty good idea where it was, far enough away where I didn't have to worry about it. As I've said many times, if the ball comes to me, I'm going to get out of the way. I'm not going to try to catch it. Don't want any broken fingers at this stage of my life. Never had good hands to begin with. They're even worse now. Don't have judgment.
Messes up your golf game too.
Yeah. Like, I even wonder if the ball comes back, if I'm going to be able to make my hands go where the ball is, or whether I'm just going to go like that and go right by me. Well, I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah. Towering blast to right field. That is well foul and about 3/4 of the way up in the club level.
I haven't really played any catch in a long time. I don't know, it was maybe 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Burt Blyleven was here, and we were honoring him because he was going into the Hall of Fame, I think, and they asked me, since I was a teammate of his, to catch the first pitch of a game.
Yeah.
And I wasn't really that worried about it, but then I got to thinking, with him on the mound, it would be just like him to throw a good curveball to where I go like this and the ball like hits me in the ankle maybe. He didn't do that, but he threw it much harder than I thought he was going to throw it, like down around the knees, and I got a glove on it, but I wasn't that confident trying to do it. So it's amazing as you get older how bad your reflexes go.
Yeah.
Baseball's not a game played well by old people.
That thing about once you have good hands, you never lose them, I beg to differ.
Yeah.
Whatever hands I had, I've lost a long time ago.
Yeah. The only thing that is true is once you have bad hands, you never lose them.
That's true.
That'd be kind of where I was. The only thing you can do when you get old is you can golf a little bit, might be able to bowl, might be able to play croquet, but
shuffleboard's always good.
Shuffleboard.
Yeah.
Baseball's not in the cards.
Now the payoff pitch coming to Odor. Got him swinging. Dylan G got the foul tip into the glove of Drew Butera. That is out number 1. Beltre still at first. Mitch Moreland coming up. Third strikeout for Dylan G.
Pretty good movement on that pitch. You can see it tailing away from Rougned. Probably thought that was a pretty good pitch to hit about halfway there, and then the movement brought it toward the end of his bat. He tipped it, but the catcher was able to hold on to it.
First pitch to Mitch. Off the outside corner. Moreland went down swinging back in the first inning. Mitch with that 5-game hitting streak. Season average, as you can see, at 244. Ball is belted. If that's fair, that is way out of here. Goodbye. He is hotter than a July day in Texas. Mitch Moreland with his 18th home run of the year. Rangers lead it 4-1.
Mitch is definitely a guy you're rooting for. And kind of felt bad for him early in the season when he was struggling a little bit, but he kept battling. You knew he would. Kept working and grinding away. And now the results are starting to show. He's timed the pitches very well, whether it's off speed, whether it's a fastball. That ball's just jumping off his bat right now. That pitch is in the lower part of the strike zone. They hit it. Might have gone over the seats right down the right field line into the concourse. Rangers using the home run ball. Two-run homers in this game. Home run's been a huge part of this 4-game series.
Ryan Rua going the other way. Paulo Orlando makes the grab on that. That is out number 2.
The catcher, Robinson.
Rua 1 out of 2, having bunted his way aboard in the second. Dylan G giving up his 13th home run of the year. Rangers have homered now in 14 straight games. You remember they had an earlier streak of 17 straight games, so they're got their eye on that. They now have 9 home runs in the 4 games of this series. Andrew Alberto being the cheerleader. He's doing double duty today. Leading the cheers, and he's also playing third base. Well, Mitch Moreland, 18 home runs, 46 RBI. Chirinos takes low and outside. 2 balls and a strike. Rangers coming into today were the league leaders, or major league leaders, in home runs with 74 since the 9th of June. That was 4 more than Toronto. They've hit 2 more today, so they have 76. That's better than 1.5 home runs per game, which is it's a league leading figure. Mitch Moreland, a big part of that lately. And Chirinos gone on strikes. The out will be recorded at first, and that will do it. But Mitch Moreland ignites a 2-run blast to right field. 2 runs on 2 hits for the Rangers. We have finished 4. It's now the Rangers 4 and the Royals 1. Baseball on Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by the all-new Mazda GR9 with 3 rows and meticulously crafted for driving, because driving matters. Well, Lucas Harrell back to the mound. He now has a 4-1 lead with which to work. He is dealing to the bottom third of the Royals order. Drew Butera, Gerard Dyson, and Raul Mondesi. That ball's hit well to left field by Butera. Back is Ryan Rua, and that ball is gone. Just over the out-of-town scoreboard. Drew Butera with his 3rd home run of the year. And that cuts the Ranger lead to 4-2.
Got ahead in the count. Got a high fastball. Pretty confident he was going to get a fastball. Lucas didn't want to walk the leadoff hitter there with a 3-run lead. Well, he got a high fastball, top of the strike zone, center of the plate. Did a nice job of hitting that ball solidly and getting it out of the ballpark.
Lucas Harrell had given up just 1 home run in his 29 innings of work with Atlanta before coming over. He's given up 1 here and his 4 innings plus of work today. Gerard Dyson ahead of the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Dyson did a comebacker to Harrell in the 2nd inning. 2 balls and 1 strike. Yeah, the home run had not been a major problem for Harrell. Has not been a major problem for him. Most he allowed in 1 year was 20 with the Houston Astros in 154 innings. That was in 2013. Year before, he threw 194 innings and only gave up 13 home runs. That is a little bit low. Ball 4. Dyson draws the walk.
That's not a guy you want to walk. Not a guy with power, but he's a guy with exceptional speed. He's the home run. Essentially, he walked the leadoff hitter now.
Oh, Dyson at first. Here's Raul Mondesi. Orioles with back-to-back speed burners at the bottom of the order. Mondesi reached on an error by Mitch Moreland. Throw down to first and not in time to get Dyson.
Yeah, Harrell's now thrown 33 strikes and 36 balls, so it's been a struggle command-wise, even though he's hanging in there as far as results go. A double play before he tries to steal second base.
Dyson expanded his lead by about a half a step. And Harrell misses outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Chirinos going to go out and have a chat with him. And the base on balls have been problems for Lucas Harrell in the past. The guy that knows him as well as anybody, Doug Brocail, going out to talk to him. Harrell walked 88 in 154 innings with the Astros in his last full year down there. When he was over in Korea, in his 33 starts, he pitched 172 innings and walked 108. So that was an issue. Jeff Bannister probably feeling pretty good about the pair of 2-run home runs the Rangers hit, and now saying we need to throw some strikes here in the 5th inning. Dyson's walk followed Butera's leadoff home run. 2-0, the count to Mondesi. That is in for a strike. It's 2-1. Mondesi showing bunt. He had Hanser Alberto charging down the line from third. Hanser, as you can see, right at the cut of the grass. Mondesi's speed would dictate that you play inside, even if you aren't looking for the bunt. Pitch down at the shoe tops of Mondesi. It's 3-1. Mike Jersley, the third base coach for Ned Yost's team, Harrell studying the signs. Dyson, pretty good lead over there at first. 3-1 pitch. Full count.
Great sinking action on that pitch.
3-2, nobody out. We'll see what Ed Yost decides to do with Gerard Dyson. That's what Lucas Harrell wanted to know too. Harrell dealing to the number 9 man at the plate, Raul Mondesi. Following him, the top of the Royals order, Alcides Escobar. Payoff pitch instead is a toss to first. Harrell again peering in, has the sign. Dyson's moving, pitch swung on and missed. The throw to second, not in time. A strikeout and a stolen base puts Dyson in scoring position with 1 out.
That's a pretty good speed combination at the bottom of the order with Dyson and Mondesi. Mondesi was only thrown out once in the minor leagues this year. He stole a base the other day. Dyson's always been a good base stealer. He's 15 out of 20 now stealing bases.
Well, here's Escobar for the 3rd time this afternoon. Escobar has popped out and grounded into a double play. Big bender is a little bit low for ball 1. Escobar 2 out of 14 in this series. See the Ranger defense 3 or 4 steps around to the left in the infield. Outfield plays straight away. Harrell, a little inside move in case Dyson was going to try to go to third on the first move. Runners in scoring position, 264 Kansas City average. Close. Goodhead trying to make that swipe tag in a hurry, and the ball just popped out of his glove.
If that throw was on the shortstop side of second base, he wouldn't have had to make that swipe tag, and it looked like there was enough daylight where they might have had him. Might have had him anyway.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Would have been awfully close. Pitch in the dirt. Chirinos able to corral it. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Well, Lucas Harrell battling himself a bit. He has walked 1 in each of the last 3 innings. And he's fallen behind Alcides Escobar 2 balls and no strikes. Really, you're doing Escobar a favor. You fall behind him to getting a fastball count. He's a very aggressive hitter. 3-0. Escobar just a 229 average with runners in scoring position. Dyson's going to third. The pitch is a strike, and Dyson steals third again. A runner, as with Alex Gordon a couple of innings ago. Getting Lucas Harrell where he's looking back 1 time and then going to the plate, and it was no challenge for Dyson.
That's why if you're going to walk anybody, especially a leadoff hitter, you don't want it to be Dyson. Walk Kendrys Morales to lead off if you want. That's not quite as dangerous. Walking Dyson to lead off is like giving up a triple.
Yep.
At least a double. You know he's going to steal second.
A 3-1 the count to Escobar. It's a 4-3 ball game as Escobar pokes one to right field for the RBI. Dyson in to score. It's now a 1-run game, and still just 1 out here in the 5th.
Third baseman
Escobar drives in his 26th run of the year. So, Escobar at first now. Chesler Cuthbert, who has walked and grounded out, steps in. 0-1. Cuthbert 4 out of 12 in this series. Went 2 for 3 in last night's ball game. Off the end of the bat to right field. Mazzara for the out. That's 2 away. But now Lucas Harrell has to face Eric Hosmer. Royals first baseman Eric Hosmer has homered to left and struck out. Rangers align the infield defense well around to the right, not in an overshift, but first pitch to him is a breaking ball that just missed. See, Hanser Alberto almost halfway between first and second and third, I should say. Erickson Profar well up the middle, and then Rougned Odor step onto the outfield grass at second. And you have to keep an eye on Escobar too at first. He will run. Now the 1-0 pitch. A ball and a strike. You know, Eric Hosmer talked about him being a line drive hitter, and he also drives the ball all over the ballpark. Ground balls, you can see, pretty well dispersed to the pull and the opposite field, all the way from straightaway right to straightaway left. He will spray the ball in there. So it's,
when you look at the defense, the only guy that's really moved is the third baseman, and that's the one spot where he hardly ever hit the ball.
And Mitch Moreland, no problem getting to that one, and that'll do it. But the Royals come up with 2 runs on 2 hits and a walk. They strand 1. We played half the ball game. Rangers 4, Royals 3 on Fox Sports Southwest. Sunday, August 14th, will be treated to an Adrian Beltre removable helmet bobblehead. That's courtesy of Nitto Tires. be one of the first 15,000 fans here at Globe Life Park for the Tigers-Rangers game and collect this one-of-a-kind bobblehead. Find your tickets at TexasRangers.com. Remember, remove Beltre's helmet at your own risk. Do not try this at home. Hands are Alberto. It's one wide of third. Cuthbert, a nice play to throw him out. Alberto 0 for 2 as he leads off the Ranger 5th inning and takes the club back to the top of the order. And before Delino DeShields steps in, we're going to send Rick Ritter for a Chevy game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Well, the big news today, and Cleveland getting Andrew Miller from the Yankees for a bevy of minor league talent. Also, they thought they had Jonathan Lucroy from the Brewers locked up, and apparently Lucroy said, well, hang on here a second. He has the right to veto a trade to 8 teams, and Cleveland was one of those teams, and he chose that. Delino DeShields with his second hit of the afternoon. Solid single to left field.
Yeah, Delino's been right on it today. His base hit was a well-hit ball. That was a well-hit ball, and his out was a 400-foot well-hit ball to center field. High fastball with the movement that brought it right back to the middle of the plate, and Delino jumped all over it.
Well, the Rangers now with 7 hits in 4 1/3 inning against Dylan G. Nomar Mazara had his 13th home run of the year, a 2-run blast back in the first inning. 1 out of 2 today, and currently hitting at .283. Out of play to the left, no balls and a strike. And we'll see if Delino DeShields tries to get the running game going. Jeff Bannister, one of the things he liked about Delino, of course, was at the top of the order, DeShields can steal bases with the best of them when he gets on. We'll see if the skipper turns him loose here. One ball and 1 strike. Nomar, just 21 years of age, turned 21 a couple of months ago, well after his major league debut. He's had at least 1 hit in each of his last 3 ball games. Finds himself down on the count after that swing and a ball and 2 strikes. This is the 7th game that Mazara has played against Kansas City in his career, and he has hits in 6 of the 7. DeShields a pretty good lead at first. He's going, and time was called. He had a great jump too. And he'll have to retrace his steps. Yeah, that is a stolen base if time is not called. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Not going this time. The changeup floats high. 2-2. Dylan G with 75 pitches under his belt. Right-hander was on the UTA team that made their first postseason in the NCAA. Pulled down to Hosmer to second for 1. The return is in time, and they get the 3-6-3 double play. Well turned by Hosmer and Alcides Escobar. The Rangers' 5th comes to a close. No runs a hit, nobody left. On to the 6th. It's the Rangers 4 and the Royals 3. And the first 15,000 fans 14 and older at the game on Saturday, August 13th will receive a Snapple Brookshires Fan Vote Rangers t-shirts. That's selected by you, the fans. Don't miss this special giveaway. The Rangers take on the Detroit Tigers. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com, or you can call 972-RANGERS. Now Lucas Harrell back out for the 6th inning. He will face Kendrys Morales to start things off, and he has fallen behind now, 2 balls and no strikes. Morales has walked and flied to left field. Just a 1-run game now. Out into the shift in medium right field. Long throw for Brunette Odor, and Morales out at first.
Well, Rookie's had to launch some long throws in this series against Morales. Fortunately, that one was right at him, but as a second baseman, it's got to feel weird having to wait that long for the ball to get to you, and then realizing you got to throw it about twice as far as you normally throw it. Not that it's a hard play, it's just a different play.
Yeah. Probably doesn't fit your eye too well, I wouldn't think.
Oh, it'd be a little bit more nerve-wracking if the batter was a faster runner.
Yeah.
And you know you just don't have time to wait way back and take your time to throw it.
0-1 pitch to Alex Gordon. And that is on the outside corner. 0-2. Gordon is singled and flied pretty deeply to right field. That was the 90th pitch of the afternoon by Lucas Harrell. 45 strikes, 45 balls for the right-hander. The 1-2. Skied to center field. Slider to Shields, kind of ambling over toward it, toward his right to make the grab. That is out number 2.
Right fielder Paulo Orlando.
So 2 up, 2 away. Here's Paulo Orlando. Orlando has had a sacrifice bunt. Last time up, grounded into a double play. Orlando 0 for 1, batting at .319. He is 1 out of 7 in this series. As Harrell hits the outside corner. Orlando 0 for 4 last night, 0 for his last 6 times to the plate. Lazy fly ball out to right center. Mazzara, Wynn pushing it back in a bit. Easy play for Nomar. So 3 up, 3 down. A nice quick inning for Lucas Harrell. Rangers off the field, and after 5.5, they maintain a 4-3 lead over Kansas City. Sonic Slam Inning, brought to you by Sonic. Today's jackpot is worth $200 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Guadalupe Ramirez from North Richland Hills will win $200. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Guadalupe is going to win $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Jurickson Profar, the number 3 hitter in the Ranger order here this afternoon, starts things off. He takes the pitch just a little bit low. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Profar has tapped back to the mound and been called out on strikes. Dylan G with 4 strikeouts this afternoon. That ball's ripped but pulled just foul. Kicking up dirt about 1.5 feet outside the chalk. Jurickson with the average at .297 as he faces G here in the 6th. Profar, Beltre, and Odor, the first 3 in the Rangers' 6th inning. 3-1. So Jurickson trying to get aboard to start off this inning. Adrian Beltre will be next in action. Flynn and Moreland in the Ranger bullpen.
If you have a lefty in the bullpen, you're going to probably use him at some point late in the game when Odor and Moreland hit back-to-back. I'm sure that's why he's warming up right now. First walk for the Rangers today comes at a good time.
Yeah.
Off the 6th inning.
Let's check in Emily Jones.
Well, guys, Jurickson Profar has played 6 different positions since he was called up this season. He said the transition has been relatively seamless thanks to the coaches.
Feels comfortable because we have good coaches here, and they teach me a lot of stuff during BP and stuff when we practice, and they make me feel comfortable during the game.
I asked Jurickson if the offense and defense kind of correlate, if one kind of spills over to the next. He was quick to point out, no, they're totally, completely different. My offense is my offense, my defense is my defense. So some players feel that, if they're playing well in the field, it tends to carry over to the plate, or maybe vice versa, but he was very, very adamant about the fact that those 2 aspects of his game are totally separate. Guys.
All right, Emily, thank you. Adrian Beltre up there now with Profar at first, and Adrian down on the count, no balls, 2 strikes. You ever find that to be true, Tom, where if you're having trouble hitting, that it might have carried over defensively for you?
Yeah, I don't think my defense ever carried over to my offense. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been a big league player probably. But yeah, I think there's the mental aspect of the game. The better you're doing in any facet of the game, the better you feel. Therefore, the better you do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it can be a carryover effect. Not consciously,
Sure.
I don't think, but
Sure.
subconsciously, I think a lot of your success has to do with what your frame of mind is.
G with the 1-2 pitch to Beltre. Tapped right back to him. To second and on to first. A 1-4-3 double play. Second exact turn that way. Third double play of the afternoon for the Royals.
Yeah, especially if you're an outfielder. I think there's a lot of times where you're struggling at the plate, and occasionally you can look at an outfielder. Lou Piniella used to do this all the time, and he'd be in his batting stance, taking a pitch, taking a swing. And so if you're in the outfield, or even if you're in the infield, if you're out there concentrating on what you need to do better at the plate, even though you don't think it's affecting your defense, if your total concentration isn't there, then it has to affect you to a certain degree. And I think it's very tough for a human being to be struggling offensively, go back out to the field where you've got time to think between pitches and not have those thoughts at least drift to how badly you feel at the plate. Just human nature.
Yeah, thinking sometimes is your worst enemy.
Sure.
When you're either going very poorly or very well.
Yeah, they've said that since the dawn of baseball, and movies like Bull Durham. Don't think you're hurting the team.
That's right.
That's one of the great baseball cliches that's true, for some people anyway.
Our Ford leaderboard today showing you the race for the most home runs by a second baseman this year. Rougned Odor just one behind Robinson Cano for that mark. Pulls this one on the ground to Mondesi, and that's going to do it. So the double play turns the leadoff walk into a very quick inning. 3 up and 3 eventually retired. We'll go on to the 7th inning here at Globe Life Park. Rangers 4, Royals 3. Game summary this afternoon. Rangers got going in a hurry. Omar Mazzara, the second Ranger hitter of the afternoon, a 2-run home run in the first. That made it 2-1. Then Mitch Moreland, his 17th home run of the year. That was a 2-run blast, 4-1. And then Alcides Escobar got the Royals a bit closer. He pulled them within 1 run of the Rangers. An RBI single in the 5th inning. Now we go to the 7th. A 4-3 Ranger lead, and Tony Barnett has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over. In our Kubota Power Stats, talking about Tony Barnett, he has allowed exactly no earned runs in his last 14 games. That covers almost 21 innings of work. Now, Tony Barnett on here to face the bottom third of the Royals order. The first pitch to Drew Butera is outside for ball 1. Butera homered to left field his last time up. He is 1 for 2. That home run is 3rd of the year. One ball and 1 strike. Butera hitting at an even 300. Again, filling in for Salvador Perez today. Perez gets the afternoon off, or up until now anyway, the afternoon off. To center field. And Delino DeShields moving over to his right makes the grab. Drew Butera is out number 1. And we'll bring up Gerard Dyson.
Center fielder Gerard Dyson.
Well, Tony Barnett, last time we saw him was against the Oakland A's, worked an inning in relief. Back on the 26th. He has done a very good job. You saw the numbers for Tony. No earned runs in his last now 21 innings, but the bullpen has been doing a very good job. Last 11 games, ERA down just below 2.5. Dyson takes low for ball 1. Dyson had a walk and a run scored in the 5th inning. Threw in a couple of stolen bases. And as Tom told you, Dyson is not the guy you want to walk down toward the bottom of that order. Walk turns into a double or triple for him. Line to center. Delino back to his right.
A couple of well-hit line drives, but right straight to the lineup. We've got a man out there.
Tony Barnett, Delino DeShields teaming up for the first 2 outs. Next will be Raul Mondesi. Mondesi has reached on an error and struck out today. 0 for 2. Mondesi, you remember, made his major league debut in the World Series last year as a pinch hitter. First man ever to do that in major league history. Make his first appearance in a major league uniform in the World Series. He has a 4-game hitting streak in regular season big league play. 1 ball and no strikes. Barnett back to him. 2 Hopper, 2 Odor. And a very nice, quick, easy 1-2-3 inning for Tony Barnett. Royals gone in order. We'll take the stretch with the Rangers leading the Royals 4-3. Now let's join our PA man at
Your attention, please, ladies
God bless
and gentlemen.
America.
Will you please rise and direct your attention now to the area behind home plate and welcome Bridget Hammers. In honor of all the veterans who have served our country and the servicemen and women who are currently stationed at home and around the world, Bridget will now perform God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America. Sweet
Now let's take a look at this afternoon's greater coverage of baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Yankees active today. They acquired reliever Tyler Clippard from Arizona, and they sent reliever Andrew Miller to Cleveland. Indians gave up the #1 rated prospect, outfielder Clint Frazier, in that Miller deal. New York Mets, meanwhile, having trouble keeping guys on the field as Drupal Cabrera left the ballgame today against the Rockies, a strained patella tendon. And Yoenis Cespedes not in the lineup again, the 7th time in the last 18 games that Cespedes has not been available. Well, Matt Strahm, young left-hander, 24-year-old out of North Dakota, on, and he is facing Mitch Moreland to start off the Rangers' 7th inning. Pitch is just off the outer part of the plate. 2 balls and no strikes. Mitch, a 2-run home run his last time up. Lines this one sharply to center field, a base hit. Well, right now, it doesn't matter to Mitch whether he's left-handed, right-handed, overhand, underhand. He's going to hit a rope someplace. Another multi-hit game for Mitch. He has 2 hits again this afternoon.
100 at bats ago was down in the low 200s, and now he's zeroing in on 250, kind of going up 240, 250. Next week he'll be around 260 at the rate he's going right now. It's not easy to go up that much when you get a lot of at bats either, but he's making a strong move back into respectability where you expect him to be.
The 1 on, nobody out. Here's Ryan Rua, who has just feasted against left-handers this year, and he tries to bunt, fouls that first pitch back for strike 1.
You got to keep that bunt away from the first baseman, Eric Hosmer. He's a great fielder. He turned that double play like he's a shortstop practically. If you get it past him towards second base, you might have a shot, but or make him field it far enough away from the bag where he can't get there, and you can beat the pitcher. The risk on that is he fields it far enough away from the bag, but still gets a force out at second base. You may beat him, and you may beat the pitcher, but his throw might beat Mitch to second base.
Rua down on the count, 0-2. He chops that Strahm pitch straight down. It's still no balls, 2 strikes. Strahm, at least as far as I can tell, making his major league debut here this afternoon. He's not had any major league service prior to this year, and there's no record that I can find that has him in any Royals games thus far. He was drafted by the Royals back in 2012. 21st round of that draft. Had some injury problems, sat out all of 2013, but worked his way up through Double-A last year. And Rua down on strikes as Strom gets that fastball in on his fist. And before Robinson Chirinos steps in, let's send it over to Rick Renner once again for a Chevy game break. All right, Rick, thank you. Now, Robinson Chirinos has grounded into a double play and struck out. Chirinos 0 for 2 today and hitting at 192. Has Moreland at first. And that breaking ball down and in. So Moreland down to second on the wild pitch. I had to wait for a second to make sure it didn't hit Chirinos. I don't know how it didn't. Looked like it had his name written on it. It was going down toward Robinson's legs. He's following him in. Well, Rangers get Moreland at second base now.
Takes away the double play.
The double play has been in vogue in this series for both teams.
It has.
1 ball and 1 strike. Defense, as you can see, a step or two around to the left for Chirinos. Outfield in a similar fashion. Matt Strom hits the outside corner. 1-2. Strom with his work this year at Double-A Northwest Arkansas in the Texas League. High and tight, that evens the count. Tall, slender left-hander at 6'3". He's listed at 200 pounds. Breaking ball, and boy, that hung up for Robinson. He pulled the trigger just a hair too early. Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Rangers leading 4-3 here in the 7th. They would love to add some insurance. They about hit the Royals 8-4. Only error of the ball game committed by the Rangers. Pretty good hack at a fastball. 95 on the radar gun. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Chirinos with 8 home runs this year. They have all come on the road. He's still looking for his first home run. Takes the pitch inside. It's 3-2. So Robinson trying to get aboard to join Mitch Moreland. Hanser Alberto, the Rangers' number 9 hitter, is next. And Butera going to go out and have a chat with Matt Strom. The temperature this afternoon hovering right at 98 now. It's been at that point since about the 3rd inning. Still have a pretty brisk breeze coming in from right center field out of the southeast here at Globe Life Park. No clouds overhead. Off in the distance, a few light puffy clouds floating by, but very typical late July afternoon. Outside, ball 4, and Chirinos draws the walk. Looks like Butera told Strom, look, we're going to throw him a fastball, but it doesn't have to be a strike. If you get him to chase it off the plate, that's fine, but don't worry about walking him with first base open. But the walk is going to bring Ned Yost out of the Royals dugout. And Yost pointing to the bullpen. He wants a replacement to come in and face Hanser Alberto. Well, Strom in his major league debut gives up a walk, a single, and has a strikeout to his ledger. 2 on with 1 out. We'll take a timeout. We're back to Globe Life Park with the Rangers leading 4-3. get discounted tickets for Friday, August 26th. That game is against the Cleveland Indians. And the first 1,000 fans with a UTA ticket at the park that night get a free Rangers cap in Maverick blue and orange. Go to TexasRangers.com/UTA for details. Well, Peter Moreland, the man from down under, who throws from down under. This is inside. Two hands are Alberto. Moreland, 37-year-old right-hander, appearing in his 21st game. 2-0 with a .438. League hitting .293 against him. Second time we've seen him in this series. Down the third baseline, a fair ball. Moreland around third. He will score. Chirinos into third, in with a slide. Hanser Alberto. It's 5-3 Rangers.
Well, with all the cheering Hanser Alberto does for everybody else, the guys on the bench better jump up and down for him. That's a big hit right there, Buzz. You're asking for some insurance runs. There's a big smile on Hanser's face, and a lot of happy guys for him in the dugout. Well, when you're not getting a chance to play every day, or much at all, and you're vocal on the bench supporting your teammates, when you do get a chance to play, your teammates are rooting for you to come through.
Yeah.
That's a big hit right there, getting a chance to play and coming through.
Well, Moreland scores. Now runners at second and third. Chirinos at third. Alberto at second. The liner to Shields, who is 2 for 3, will get to the plate, and the infield for Kansas City pulled all the way in. Moreland's first pitch at hitting. That's going to load the bases for Mazzara. Now that tailing fastball that really works into right-handers worked right into the thigh of Delino to Shields, and he is aboard to load him up. And again, Ned Yost making a move to the bullpen. Moreland does not retire either of the first two hitters that he faces. Ryan Flynn will be the left-hander to come in to face Nomar Mazara. So the base is full. A run across here in the 7th. Rangers leading 5-3, looking for more. We're back right after this. By donating to the Rangers Equipment Drive. You drop off new and gently used baseball and softball equipment at various North Texas locations between August 1st and August 13th. That benefits the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation's RBI 13th to benefit the Texas Rangers Baseball Foundation. Excuse me. Visit TexasRangers.com/equipment for more information. Well, Brian Flynn on now to face Nomar Mazara with the bases full and one out. Flynn, second time we've seen him in this series, his 18th appearance of the year. 1-1 with a .324 ERA, just a .218 opponent's average against. Up the middle, snapped down by Flynn to home for one, on to first. The 1-2-3 double play. And the Rangers' 7th comes to a close. They do add on a run on 2 hits and leave 2. On to the 8th, 5-3 Texas.
The game up first, the hot dog vendor. He's actually changing his chant out here. What is that?
Just a second.
Can somebody say sweep? Oh, man. There we go. All right, now to the progressive fan of the game. It's got to be Johnny. I tell you what, you taking your son to how many straight Ranger games?
3 straight Ranger games.
3 straight games. Hopefully another Ranger win you'll watch. Congratulations, progressive fan of the game. Cage, you've had a good time, right, buddy? All right, good to have you out here. And these little kids real quick wanted to say something. Oh, excuse me there. What was it, guys? What do you want to say? I didn't hear this little guy. What? There you go. Way to go, guys. Good to have you out here, Buzz.
All right, Doxy, thank you. Well, the 8th inning, we have Keone Kela on the hill. Saw Keone 2 nights ago on Friday night out here, and he is dealing to the top of the order. Alcides Escobar starting off. Kela in his 15th appearance of the year, 1-1 with a 5.65 ERA, but the opponent's batting average, really the telling figure for him, just 192. Keone worked 2 innings here on Friday. Had 1 strikeout, gave up nothing to the Royals. And he has fallen behind very quickly to Alcides Escobar, 2 balls and no strikes. Escobar had the RBI single his last time up, 1 for 3 today. Back to Kela. And that is out number 1. Well, Escobar taps back to the mound. Chesler Cuthbert will be next. Well, folks, follow Rangers Baseball live with MLB.com at Bat app. You can stay up to the moment at any moment with game day and live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and a lot more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. And the curveball first pitch from Kela for strike 1. Cuthbert 0 for 2 today. Walked in the 3rd. That was sandwiched in between a ground ball to short and a fly ball to right. Cuthbert all geared up for that 96 and didn't get it.
Said, well, didn't get one on the first one. I'm getting one here for sure. He didn't.
0-2.
Get one there. Either.
Yeah, Keone's going to try it 3 straight times. Kela, the 3rd pitcher used by Jeff Bannister this afternoon. Lucas Harrell went the first 6 innings. Gave up 3 runs on 4 hits with 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. Tony Barnett, a perfect 7th inning. And now Keone Kela, after the Rangers put up a run in the bottom of the 7th. Fastball, see you later.
Got one there, though.
That was 96, but it was on the outside black. And Kella gets the punch out, 2 gone.
Good fastball. I think with an off day tomorrow, Banny's not afraid to use extra pitchers if he needs to, so he's going to bring in the lefty to face the lefty right here.
He's got Hosmer coming up. Jake Diekman is ready, and that's who is coming into the ball game. So Yoni Kella gets a tapper back to the mound and a strikeout. He is finished for the afternoon. Jake Diekman coming on. Ash to face the left-hander Hosmer. Base is empty. 2 outs in the 8th with the Rangers leading by 2. We're back right after this. He is asked to take a seat right beside A.J. Griffin. Turn it over to Jake Diekman, the 29-year-old left-hander, appearing in his 45th ball game. 2-1, the record for Diekman. Diekman got the win here on Friday night. 2.39 ERA, the league hitting a miserly 154 against him. Eric Hosmer takes the pitch outside for ball 1. Hosmer homered to left in the first inning. Since then has struck out and grounded out. Broken bat. Good thing it's a warm afternoon, and that would have hurt the hands. Woodhead throws him out, and Diekman throws 2 pitches, gets Hosmer, and the Royals are gone in the 8th. 3 up and 3 down. Bottom of the 8th coming up. Rangers adding insurance possibly, leading 5-3.
Of the 8th, 5-3 is the score here at Globe Life Park in Arlington. This concludes a 4-game series between these two teams and a 7-game homestand for the Rangers. Off day tomorrow before they head out east to take on the Baltimore Orioles. Mark Trumbo and his league-leading 30 home runs going up against Yu Darvish on Tuesday. That's a 6 o'clock first pitch here on Fox Sports Southwest. Coverage begins at 5:30 with Rangers Live. A big thank you to the fine folks at AT&T High-Speed Internet for getting us ready for the opener of a 3-game set between the O's and the Rangers, guys.
All right, and thank you. Well, a familiar figure on the hill here, and big 6'10" Chris Young, 37-year-old from Highland Park, Dallasite, by way of Princeton, working out of the bullpen today. This is 20th appearance of the year. He's had 13 starts. And Chris, coming off a great year last year with the Royals. He went 11-6 in that World Series championship team. Had 18 starts. Won 12 games the year before and re-signed with the Royals this past offseason as a free agent. 0-2 the count. And a chopper right back to Young. Profar retired, 1 away for Adrian Beltre. Well, Chris Young, you remember, came up with the Rangers. He was drafted by the Rangers. Developed by the Rangers. He was made his major league debut with Texas in 2004. A 12-game winner the next year, his first full year in the big leagues. And then he went on to San Diego. Had some good years with the Padres. Pitched a little bit with the Mets, and then on to Seattle. Adrian Beltre hit in 3 trips. He singled and scored back in the 4th inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. Chris Young riding the fastball and that curveball. Very deceptive, and that's that 88-mile-an-hour fastball, just about where he tops out these days. Never did throw extremely hard, in the low 90s at times, but well, I've got to think that using that 6'10" frame the way he does, it's hard to pick the ball up. 2-2. Rangers have 5 runs on 9 hits today. They have limited the Royals to 3 runs on 4 hits. Beltre stays alive with that foul tip. Adrian with the average at an even 280. He is still the team leader with 65 runs driven in this year. Broken bat to right field and toward the corner. Nice running grab by Orlando. Well, you break your bat in half and hit the ball about 320 feet. That's impressive. The other way. Business in that bat, about 75 feet toward third base. Beltre retired, 2 outs, and now Rougned Odor. Yeah, that got pieces of wood flying all over the place. Coming right at you, follow Orlando, covering a lot of ground out in right field. First pitch strike to Rougned. Odor had the bunt base hit back in the first. He is 1 for 3 this afternoon. And he, like Beltre, hitting right at 280. Oh, 2. Our AT&T high-speed internet replay. How about the guy that's on deck right now, Mitch Moreland? That big home run, his 18th of the year, a 2-run blast in the 4th inning. That gave the Rangers a 3-run lead. Mitch would single in the 7th and score. A little bit of insurance, and Odor climbing the ladder but didn't have enough runs. And Chris Young works a 1-2-3 inning. We are going to the 9th here at Sam Dyson time at Globe Life Park. 5-3 Rangers.
Dyson looking to finish off the sweep of the Kansas City Royals. Rick Renner on the Rangers Live set, presented by Frontier Communications. Coming up after the game, join Mark McLemore and myself. We'll hear from Mitch Moreland, the hot hitting of his action as of late, and Lucas Harrell in his big debut as a Ranger. Emily Jones work in the clubhouse. That's after the game, and then after that, we got Frisco Rough Riders baseball on Fox Sports Southwest. Guys?
All right, Rick, thank you very much. Well, we head to the ninth, and the Ranger closer, Sam Dyson, on for his 51st appearance of the year. He is among the league leaders in appearances. 1-2 with 21 saves in 23 opportunities. That ERA at just below 2.5, and league hitting .238 against him. And Dyson will work to the middle third of the Kansas City order. Kendrys Morales, Alex Gordon, and Paulo Orlando. A 5-3 Ranger lead. First pitch to Morales. Got him on the fist. It is rolled out to shallow right. That's where Odor is. Second straight time that Morales has hit the ball into right field and had Odor throw him out.
The shift has been successful against him. It's hard to tell exactly where Rugi would play if he didn't go back into the outfield, whether some of those would have been outs anyway. Most of them have been outs. All of them have been outs hit that way in this series. Rugi's been there for every one of them.
Well, Dyson gets the first hitter, and now Alex Gordon, who is 1 for 3, steps in. Gordon singled in the second inning. Since then has flied out twice, once to right, once to center. Sam Dyson working against him. Sam picked up his 21st save here on Thursday night against the Royals. That one's a little bit low, and it's 2-0. Sam in that ball game walked one in his 1 inning of work. Gordon, a .206 hitter. Left center field, slicing back toward Rua. 2 gone. Well, Sam Dyson and the Rangers now 1 out away from completing the 4-game sweep of the Royals and increasing their lead in the AL West to 6 full games. You notice the Astros were swept by the Tigers in Detroit. Rangers have picked up games at each of the last 4 days, trying to get back to where they were right before the All-Star break. First pitch to Orlando is a strike. 32,806, and they are on their feet here at Globe Life Park. Rangers looking for the first 4-game sweep since last year against the Houston Astros. Orlando 0 for 2. Paulo Orlando had a sacrifice bunt in the second. Grounded into a double play in the fourth. Fly to right in the 6th inning. Dyson with a 1-1 pitch. A breaking ball, and that dipped in. 1-2. Crowd now, the energy building. See a lot of folks waving the towels, their arms. Got him swinging. And that is a winner. Sam Dyson, a 1-2-3 ninth inning. His 22nd save of the year. The Rangers complete the 4-game sweep over Kansas City, and they now lead the West by 6 full games over the Astros.
That was a great series. There's a lot of clutch hitting. The Rangers used the home run. One of the things you loved about today's game was the fact that a couple of guys got a chance to play and did well. Delino had a couple of hits and scored a run. Answer Alberto had a double and an RBI. Played good defense. Starting pitching, pitched deep into ball games. The bullpen didn't have to pitch 4 innings. And when they came in, they were successful. We highlighted them in the pregame show. 6 1/3 innings of relief, only giving up 1 run. And today they pitched several innings of relief. Didn't give up a hit, didn't give up a base runner, as a matter of fact. So impeccable relief pitching. Nice debut, solid debut for Lucas Harrell. Didn't have his best command, but he battled, got a couple double plays, pitched 6 innings, had a quality start. All in all, a great way to get into tomorrow's off day and get on the road with a nice little streak going.
Well, Lucas Harrell gets his first win back in the American League West. He was with the Houston Astros in his debut with the Rangers. And let's go down and check in with Emily Jones, who has one of the heroes of today's game.
Very much, Hanser Alberto. Hanser, you're always cheering for everyone in the dugout. You're this team's biggest cheerleader. And for you to come up with a big insurance hit there at the end, what was it like for you?
Oh, you know, it means a lot for me, especially because we get the W. But, you know, when I see my name in the lineup, so I was so excited, you know. I got a chance to play and, you know, to prove I can help my team to win. So that's what we did today.
Tell me about that mentality that you have, this role on your team. You know what it is and you embrace it.
You know, first of all, I come and focus every single day, you know, prepare myself like if I'm going to play. And so when the opportunity comes, I get it. But, you know, my job is cheering for my...
Into torture now. Stop it. Zip it, Elvis, go away. That one felt good, huh?
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was my first one, so I waited for that one a long time ago. Finally, I get it. But the most important, we've been playing really good. We get a W, and hopefully now we go on the road, continue to get the W.
Hanser, up top, buddy. Congratulations. Great game. We'll send it back up to you guys.
All right, thanks very much. Well, congratulations, Hanser, your first bath. That's nice to see. Now the Rangers complete the sweep. We'll be back to Globe Life Park with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.